Good afternoon, everyone. We will call the meeting of the Extension, Education, and Economics Development Committee to order. We will have the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Public comment, we do not have none, but welcome everybody. Looks like we got a pretty good crowd here today, so thanks for attending. Number 4, approve the minutes of the March 2nd, 2023 EED Committee minute meetings. Motion by Tom, second by Bob. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Number 5, policy issues and discussion and potential committee determination. None. Number 6, operational functions required by statute, ordinance, resolution, or policy. None. Number 7, educational presentation and committee discussion. 7A, National Science Foundation Retool Project Grant. This is Francis Fernandez and Jeff Block. And thank you for coming, and thank you, Supervisor Marash, for bringing this to my attention.
First of all, thank you for giving us an opportunity to kind of share what we're doing at the Tech. Like I said, my name is Jeff Block. I'm a machine tool instructor at North Central Tech. Been there 13 years. And
my name is Frank Fernandez. I'm a physics and nanotechnology instructor at NTC. I've been there 33 years. So I'm the principal investigator of this grant. It's a National Science Foundation grant. I don't know if you guys are how familiar you are with the National Science Foundation, but we are very fortunate to have, if we call it free money. So the NSF is actually located, you might think it's in Washington, D.C., but it's not. It's in Alexandria, Virginia, which is just across the Potomac River, if anybody's been to D.C. But it was established by Congress on May 10th, 1950 to promote the progress of science and to advance national health and prosperity and welfare, and mostly because of national defense. If you remember what happened in the 50s, I mean, I know everybody's too young to remember what happened in the 50s, but if you remember, the Soviets launched Sputnik. And because the Soviets launched Sputnik, you know, they were trying to fund all these dollars. And then after they launched Sputnik, I think, you know, we started getting, the NSF was starting to get funding exponentially. But there was, you know, all this stuff, there was all this going on at that time. So obviously, maybe on the next slide, you can see that the total awards for fiscal year 2022 are $8.5 billion, which is a lot of money. And this is nationwide. Now in Wisconsin alone, we get $116 million from the National Science Foundation. And obviously, you probably know, because you live in Wisconsin, you probably know which educational institution gets the most of it, which is fine. You know, obviously, UW-Madison gets about, 92 million. You get UW-Milwaukee that gets 7 million, and then this was surprising to me, 3 million to Mount Mary University. Now, the rest of us, we get the rest of the money. And our retool project, which is, this is our first time, actually I shouldn't say it's our first NSF grant, this is our second NSF grant that we've got, but it's $350,000 for over 3 years, and it just started October 1st of 2022.
The grant is actually part of an ATE, which is Advanced Technical Education, so NSF is trying to promote technicians, and it can be in just about any kind of field. IT is a big one. The EV, electric vehicles, is another one. We're using it to help promote the machining industry in our area. So I am a machine tool instructor. Our numbers have been fairly low the last few years, and Frank and I were just kind of sitting down, like, what can we do to help boost this up? So basically, that's what we're kind of doing, and that's where we're going to focus our efforts on over the next 3 years, to try to bring in more technicians, machining technicians into the industry, which our industry here desperately needs. So the grant does kind of concentrate in 2-year institutions. We can partner with other ones, but for this grant, it's pretty much just us that we're going to be doing this. And so basically our goals for the grant, basically increase awareness, get this word out that these jobs are good paying jobs, they're good jobs. They're not in the dark, dirty machine shop like people kind of have that stigma of. But we're going to also modify our curriculum a little bit. And the big thing that we're going to kind of do is we're going to concentrate on a population in the area, the Hmong community. They are a very good, hardworking group. It's just kind of hard to get the word out that this job is a great opportunity for it. So we're just kind of concentrating with that group. We're working with that community, just kind of participating in some events. So, we'll show a couple here in a minute. Just some things that they do, they come together and just like I said, just kind of get that knowledge out there. And then we're also going to try to incorporate mentors. So we're going to try to get somebody that's already working in the field to kind of, mentor some other students that kind of help them, bring them in and keep them going and make sure they kind of stay on pace. So here's an example. He's one of my past students. He works at Green Egg Fan right now. He's in the tool and die. And he's showing interest in being one of our mentors, which we're hoping to have in place by next fall. So the one thing with that $350,000, NSF does not like you to get a grant and go buy equipment, okay? They like to have things shared. So they're gonna pay for you to do something, but they want to have that product to be able to share out. So we're kind of doing this thing with this community, with this ethnic group, and every community has that, and how do you get into that? And we're kind of surprised how much interest there is around the U.S. on, people are hearing what we're doing, and they're like, hey, we want to find out if this is going to work or not. So we're kind of excited about it.
These are some numbers. I know it's rather small. I just copied and pasted from an Excel spreadsheet. But ever since the grant started in October, for every event or any kind of presentation that I've done, we've done, I like to report all the numbers. I just update the spreadsheet because NSF likes to know, what is going on. And so there's tons of events, a lot of cultural events, a lot of NTC board presentations. We presented a swimmer. You guys must know about swimmer and in Central Wisconsin Manufacturing.
Metal Manufacturing.
Alliance. And then, well, obviously we have a lot of open houses and tours. There was a couple Hmong cultural events for a Mangala 30 fundraiser, which was huge. It was at Cedar Creek. No, what's it? Yeah. No, it was at Stony Creek.
Cedar Creek,
So
yeah.
Same thing, yeah. I'm looking at it. So there's, and then this coming next weekend, if you guys don't know about it, we have Michigan Tech Mine Trekkers at our college, NTC, 14th and 15th. We have on the 14th, we're gonna have 5,000 middle school schoolers at our campus. So we'll have a huge, a grand table, show them some cool demonstrations. And then on Saturday, which is the 15th of April, it's open to the community from 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock. And we're hoping to get another like 3,000. We've done the Mind Trackers in the past, and we've seen numbers like this is huge, so.
Don't come Friday.
Yeah, don't come Friday. It's just a bunch of middle schoolers, but we have buses and buses busing all and the kids are very interested in science. And to show the National Science Foundation that this is what's going on at NTC, I think it's very, very good,
But if you haven't been at the Tech in even 5 years, you'd be amazed, and that's what that's for, that Saturday. It's an open house. All of our shops are gonna be open. But it'd be a great opportunity to see what the school's doing.
Here's I did this Hmong Halloween block party, and then we, obviously we have a lot of our propaganda, and I don't know, obviously the kids, the demographics was a little different than we expected. Well, it's a Halloween party, so you're gonna get little kids, but at the same time, we just like our presence felt in the community to know that NTC is a vested member, and stuff, and we ran through a lot of candy, and nobody wanted any kind of brochures or flyers. So we went through lots of candy, but besides that, But at any rate, for whatever it is, at least, we had a presence felt. And so we've done a lot of those, events.
This is just something that we're working on to help with the grant, get awareness out there. Obviously, NTC has its own website. We're helping to get a QR code out there. It's going to get direct access to the page. It'll show videos of the program, and a couple other tabs that will be within that. Like I said, just another tool, I guess, we're using for publicity. And just other things that are going to be on that. It's been a painful process to get this going, but we're hoping to have that website live here within the next month or so. Another thing that we're kind of looking at doing is creating, that language barrier. The majority of the Hmong people do speak English, but just to kind of give that option out there,
We have a service called Language Line where we could translate some stuff into the Hmong language and those kinds of things. So we might do some of that, but we haven't really, worked out the kinks yet and how all that is going to be done. But again, the question is, how could EEDC help us, right? Well, we're looking for mentors. So if you are at a corporation or some company and you got, whether it's Hmong or whether it's, any machinist, and they would be interested in serving mentors, being a mentor, well, we would like that. Mentors do get a stipend, I don't know if it's a whole lot, but, it's still significant,
Yeah.
So that's all comes out through the grant. We could get, you could refer potential students that need upgrading in their machining skills. If there is, we could help market this program, and then if there is scholarships or something that.
just in case if you got a pot of gold laying
Yeah.
around, you don't know what to do with.
We'll take that
we
money,
can put it towards
so,
school
yeah.
scholarships. So.
So, and then,
yeah, I think that's.
Does anybody have any questions?
What's that?
The ground hasn't.
Anybody has any questions you can ask? And like I said, this is our first year. We got hopefully 2 more years, and we have a lot to learn. NSF is very interested. We could extrapolate all this stuff to, like, say, the Hispanic community, to, any kind of community. So there's a lot of colleges and universities that are looking for innovative methods of trying to recruit minority students into STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. So.
Okay, is there any questions from the committee? Tom?
What you're doing is promotional and awareness with this grant, not, for instance, scholarships or anything like that.
No,
Correct.
there's no scholarships budgeted in the grant itself. We're just recruiting, basically, and promoting the program.
That some of the funds is being used to, we're kind of changing our whole program up. So there's a ton of curriculum work that needs to be done. So that's part of the funds. It's paying for that curriculum to be built. So
what we're trying to do is, right now, manual machining is in the first year and CNC machining is in the second year. we're try to flip that around, and Jeff can probably talk more about that than myself, but, and we'll develop like a short-term certificate that they could probably go out and utilize the CNC machining skills and then come back and take the second year of the program, something like that. And we're gonna try to be very accessible, maybe even have stuff like over the weekend or maybe in the evening and stuff, and we'll rearrange those class offerings. So that's basically what, we got this money for, to do.
Very little equipment. I think we only got budgeted like 20-some thousand and
Yeah.
to purchase. So it's very minimal. Everything else is.
If we apply for the second term, second 3-year term of the grant, then in that grant, we could probably buy a bunch of equipment, they would fund that, so, but that's basically what it is. Very good, it's, I'm so proud of it because if you look at how NSF, they actually give it to the congressional district. So to get free money, it's free money, guys, and to get it into this community, it's great. And then we can promote and we can show. Sometimes you say, NTC is the best kept secret. Nobody even knows what all we have to offer. And I wish sometimes maybe you guys should all come over there and see what our facilities and the stuff that we're doing is very impressive. So.
Any other questions? I do have one. This is, you said your enrollment is down a little bit. How many do you have going through your classes a year?
So, and I guess I don't want to talk too much school-wise because I don't know
Yeah.
the exact numbers, but our particular program ourselves, so probably the last 2 years, we've started with less than 6 students. Now, COVID probably had something to do with that, but the numbers were going down before that. This last fall, we started 12, so we're like, all right, and we're already heard for next fall, so enrollment hasn't even opened, but we already have 10 signed interested in the program. So I'm guessing we're gonna have 12 to 15 next fall. So it's going the other way, and I'm thinking some of our efforts just kind of exposing is helping already. So.
Yeah, and I would think this grant is going to help you out a lot, I think. So I
Yeah,
hope.
I got high hopes. I'm excited about it.
Okay, any other questions? Anybody on WebEx? No? Okay, well, thank you both for coming and for
Thank
a
you.
very good presentation. And we will
Which one's yours?
see you on the 15th.
Did I just pull it out?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. 7B, 4-H Volunteer Appreciation Week, April 16th through the 22nd. This is Holly and her crew. And Jeremy?
Yeah, I'll kick us off real quick. So, National Volunteer Appreciation Week is coming up. 16th starts 16th, runs for a week, and we thought that'd be a good time to recognize volunteers within 4-H because they're such a critical part of what happens in 4-H. So, appreciate the opportunity to share. I am going to turn it over to Holly, who will get us kicked off and introduce our other presenters as well. So, thank you.
Good afternoon, and thank you for allowing us to come into your space today to talk a little bit about our 4-H program. And many people think about our 4-H program and they think about the youth, right? That's the program. But our program is really built solidly around our volunteers, because if we didn't have our volunteers, we wouldn't have the people who support and educate and work with our youth. So with April being Volunteer Appreciation Month, I thought we'd just give a little overview about our volunteers, the work that they do with our youth, and the investment they make in our program. But we're going to start with 2 of our youth who are in our program, and they're going to speak to what the volunteers mean to them and the impact they make for them. And then followed up with the president of our Leaders Federation. She's going to talk about her role as a volunteer in that. So I'm going to turn it over to Carver, and he's going to introduce himself and then talk about what the volunteers mean to him.
All right, thank you, Holly. So my name is Carver, as she said. I have been a 4-H youth for a little under 8 years, I believe. And all I can say is life-changing. I mean, through 4-H, there's so much that I have learned in that stuff. I mean, I look at every single experience that I've ever had, and I am constantly learning and growing in myself. I remember when I first started, I never really enjoyed 4-H or the meetings, as every kid probably doesn't when their parents force them to start something. But eventually, at some point, that flip switched, and going to these activities set up by the volunteers, you eventually develop that service and the community involvement and community action that 4-H grows with and grows into you. And through that experience, and many of the experiences, I remember raking leaves and helping with veterans dinners and all that stuff, which is all volunteer-led. I mean, the parents are paying money to donate the food to the items, and there's so much stuff that the parents and the volunteers of the 4-H organization are doing for those community events that help grow our community. And one of the things that the 4-H does help with in our community is helping to develop those kinds of kids that will make the community better in the future. I look at myself. My first leadership experience was in 4-H, and through there I have joined 6 other clubs through high school. I have countless scholarships already before the main scholarships have come out as I graduate here. 4-H helped me choose my major in college. I remember going to the shooting sports opportunity when I was younger, and through that, the mentors on shooting sports, the volunteers, they helped made a personal connection with me with the firearms aspect and then the outdoors. So I have chosen the DNR office and for conservation law major. Anyways, the volunteers are just kind of the central point of 4-H, and I just can't express my thanks enough to this organization.
And I'm Braylon Rose. Oh, that's loud. I'm 14. I'm from Popwood 4-H, and I've been in 4-H since kindergarten. I actually loved going to meetings when I was little. One way volunteers help with 4-H, because 4-H is volunteer-led. Without volunteers, there would be no camp. There would be any of these big events led by 4-H. It's all volunteer. I should have grabbed my notes.
Do you have a leader that?
Yeah, actually, I was.
Yep. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, sorry, I'm really bad at talking in front of people. I had to, no, I've forgotten. Yes, can I have those? Okay. So. For some kids, there'd be a huge opportunity lost for role models or mentors without 4-H. Even kids with good role models or mentors at home, they always meet others at 4-H, whether it be an adult or another kid. But they know them because of 4-H. Volunteers are not necessarily just 4-H project leaders. Every member of staff at 4-H camps, 4-H project meetings, 4-H workshops, they're all volunteers. These staff are there to help kids find their sparks or something that interests them, and to support these kids that are maybe the only ones in their club who do something, like the only ones who show animals or art or cake or anything at the fair, not even just at the fair, but and just to encourage them that even if they're not the greatest at it right now, they can be eventually. One 4-H leader that always stood out to me she was the president of a 4-H club, but I didn't know that till after my first year at 4-H camp. She was my camp counselor. I was 8 years old, and I woke her up like 3 times every night to go to the bathroom. I'm always going to remember how patient Tavia was with me, and then when I got back at like the first 4-H meeting after camp, I remember being so excited that she was in my club. And I think I cried when she aged out. This year I'm going to be staffing at 4-H camp, and I hope I can be a role model to kids like that. And 4-H volunteers are here to lead. 4-H is all about teaching kids how to lead and be leaders in their community. Yeah, that's probably it. I'm sorry. I'm really bad at ending.
Hi, my name is Teresa Stewie. I am the current president of the Marathon County Leaders Federation, and I'm also the current 4-H leader for the Maine 4-H Club. I have been volunteering for 4-H. 4-H is for youth in grades kindergarten through grade 13. My oldest one was 4 years old. I was already volunteering for 4-H then. Through the years, I've became the leader. I became project leaders to widen the horizon for the kids. As all volunteers, we look to others to help us. We support each other through this case, and the excitement of being involved in volunteering is when the kids, when you were younger, they're now bringing their kids back and they are volunteering again. As said before, my youngest daughter, she had, with their experiences through 4-H and the various volunteers, she has made her career decision. She's in the university system based upon 4-H, and now she is trying to get involved in 4-H over in her county. Volunteering as on the Federation board, we have youth. It's a split. We try to have the same amount of parents and youth so that we have the youth representation. They all are volunteers. We listen to the youth. We try to organize events for the youth. We're excited with COVID. Our numbers have dropped, but now we're right around 1,000. We're getting up there. We used to be 1,400. So our goal is to, with enough people and the volunteers, we are getting the word back out there. The kids are getting excited again to becoming involved in 4-H. So yes, volunteering, and for myself, I probably average, on an average month, at least 10 to 15 hours minimum volunteering for 4-H, trying to get things going and organizing. So it's great appreciation. We know the kids appreciate it, and I do it for the kids. That's my bottom line. I volunteer for the kids, and it's appreciative when the kids come back, and as they say, they appreciate us. So thank you for this opportunity to talk.
Thank you, Carver, Braylon, and Teresa. I appreciate you speaking to the volunteers that have made an impact in our program. Teresa talked a little bit about our members. Our volunteers are 18 years of age or older. At that 18 year of age, they have a choice if they've been a 4-H member to do 4-H for one more year. You can do it 1 year past high school, or at that time you can decide to be a adult volunteer. So we have a variety of volunteers. We have some younger newbie ones that are in that 18 to 25 range. Quite a bit of our base is between like a 30 to 55 years, and then we do have those that are in that age level, like 60 and above. Some of them that might not have youth in the area or families in the area, but they want to have a role with youth. So they have joined 4-H to be a mentor. We're going to talk a little bit here quick about our volunteers in Marathon County. They help you thrive. That is an important part. Our volunteers are here to see what the youth can do. So our youth thrive when our adult volunteers show interest and encourage sparks. We heard that somebody was mentioned sparks already. That's kind of one of our new taglines in 4-H, like what is it that the youth are interested in? And when the adult leaders listen and they learn what the youth are interested in, then they provide the experiences. How can we tap into that? What is our area of interest? You know, I heard these gentlemen just talking about machine tooling before, and I'm like thinking, I wonder if we have youth that might be interested. Like, how can we connect, right? That is one of the best things about our 4-H program is our youth volunteers try to listen and show interest and encourage those sparks of what the youth are interested in. And our youth volunteers work alongside the youth and promote leadership. Teresa, I think, talked about the Leaders Federation just a little bit. Working side by side, the youth-adult partnerships are so important. The adult volunteers are modeling leadership, and then they're also encouraging those youth to get up and speak, right? To make decisions, to be part of the budgeting process if they're going to do a trip or an activity, right? That the youth are always part of these pieces, so we're building up those civic skills that are so important to our youth. Our adults also allow the youth to be themselves, right? Like, you can come into our space as you are, who you are, right? And we want you to feel comfortable. We want you to be who you are. We want you to shine in what we do in our program. So our volunteers are really great about allowing the youth to be themselves when they come into our spaces too. Kind of moving on, those volunteers provide a caring environment. So along with that, you could be who you are, they accept you for who you are, providing the caring environment. Our volunteers go through quite a bit of training in order to be a certified volunteer through Wisconsin 4-H. They do dedicate a lot of time. They start with a volunteer in preparation training, which is about a 2-hour training. And then they have to do, of course, a background check. Another training is a Title IX training. A building safe spaces is a new one that Wisconsin 4-H just rolled out. How to provide a caring environment, a safe environment. How do we, like, we're not working one-on-one with youth. Your volunteers are working at least in groups of 3, and, and what spaces are we utilizing and things. So there's a lot of training pieces that are just bare minimum to become a 4-H volunteer. And I so appreciate the amount of time our volunteers are putting in. They're probably putting in, when they start new, anywhere from like 15 to 17 hours of training to become a volunteer within our program. But that also helps them to become the best leader that they can be, right, with our youth. So they feel comfortable working with our youth. Our volunteers also, we have other trainings. We just had a retreat in March. We worked with Marathon County 4-H office, and we did a volunteer training, combined county, with our leaders together, and teaching them and guiding the leaders like how to take a step back, right? Allowing the youth the opportunity to learn. They might succeed and they might fail, and that's all okay, right? And how do we support them through that process? So through parts of some of our trainings that we have, we're also teaching those adults like how to strengthen that leadership toolbox that they have to best support our youth. I guess this slide goes into that too a little bit. Our volunteers are learning these skills to include all 4-H youth, all the youth that participate in our programs. Most of our programs that we have, we open up to the community. So like summer camp, was talking about, Braylon was talking about one of her highlights coming up this summer. It is a 4-H event, but we're also opening it to the community. So if other youth want to participate and spend the 3 days with us at summer camp, they're welcome to. So our volunteers are taught and they're given skills to include all youth from all backgrounds. And then we talked a little bit about, how to brighten that spark. When you see an interest, when you hear an interest, how do we help bring that along, right? And so that's part of my job too, is working with the volunteers to help them have the resources to continue that. And then how do we manage difficult situations? So we talked a little bit about Title IX. We talked a little bit about building safe spaces trainings that our volunteers go through. Plus, then we add in, like when we have our camp staff trainings for counselors and adults, we build in a little bit about if we have difficult situations with conversations, management behavior, social, emotional, right? So we're building in all those skills. Our adult volunteers and then our youth leaders, are typically our teens that are in these programs too, are building these skills. So they're also not just using these in the community then, or in 4-H, they're taking them out into the community, we see. We've done a little survey that I found some different results in from a couple years ago. And the volunteers have said that through these trainings, through this program, they feel like they're making a difference in the lives of youth. They're here because they want to keep supporting the youth. And that difference is important to grow the citizens. I think Carver was talking about like the youth that grow into productive citizens in our communities. We want them to stick around. We want them to be able to be maybe part of these committees, right? As they grow up. So those are some of the things our volunteers are doing. Just a quick little tidbit on our volunteers. We currently have and are blessed with 227 adult volunteers in our program, and that's been growing even in the last month or two. We've seen the numbers continue to grow with our adult volunteers. So we are just tickled pink and excited to have that, because the more adults we have, the more people we have to share with our youth programs. And just to kind of gather an understanding on our volunteers, Teresa is definitely on the high end. She was talking about 15 to 20 hours a month. She volunteers for the program. We have a lot that do that. And we have some that they might just be a project leader. And I shouldn't say just, they are a project leader. And so maybe they only volunteer from like April to August or something like that, like a month, an hour or two a month. Typically what we have in 4-H is our volunteers, we have done some work in the past that they average about 5 hours a month volunteering. So in Marathon County, when you do that with our numbers, our volunteers in a year give 13,620 hours of service to our program. And that is just incredible that we have that much dedication to our program. And when you average that and we take that with the volunteer dollar amount that is out there, they're giving in service to our program $400,919, which is, when I put this all together, I was just like amazed. Like that's a huge dollar value that our program, or between Extension, between our Leaders Federation, you support our program too with dollars. You know, that's a huge dollar amount that they're just donating and giving back to the program. And so I'm so appreciative of that. And I hope you are too with that. So I hope that over this next month, if you see a 4-H volunteer or if you hear about people talk about 4-H, that you have the opportunity to thank them and show appreciation, join us in showing that appreciation. We're going to have a couple special events over that week later on in April for our volunteers. So with that, any questions that you might have for us, for any of us?
Any questions from the committee? I have one. How many in this room were a 4-H'er when they were younger? Raise your hand.
All right, there's some youth in this room. Raise your hand. You're younger. Go ahead, raise your hand. We got some youth in the back.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Because little story, I was in 4-H when in my younger days. My 4 daughters were in 4-H. And now my 8 grandkids are in 4-H. So I was a project leader for the dairy. At one time, it was the Hatley 4-H, I do believe. But yeah, so for me, 4-H is very passionate. So, but another question, Holly, getting to the membership, how many 4-H members do we have in Marathon County? I know the COVID has dropped it, but is it coming back?
It is definitely coming back strong. We're like 8 short of 1,000 total between adults and youth. Or last year we were around 800 total. So we are growing. Part of that isn't a blessing because we have 4 4-H staff right now. Myself, I'm the full-time 4-H educator. Jasmine Carbajal, who had a program in Wood County, she's shared between Wood County and Marathon County. The Leaders Federation, they help support her as financially as an extra staff member in our office. And we have been able to seek funding to have 2 AmeriCorps 4-H program assistants. So we have been blessed to have like 4 people going out, doing programs, providing that spark, getting things going. Jade is one of she's sitting over here, and she is one of our AmeriCorps volunteer members that are working with our program. And so once we start doing those things, then we're able to spark our adults, we're able to spark our youth with new programs and provide an experience. So we are seeing an upswing, and we're just happy, and we wanting to keep that going.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Well, thank you for the very interesting presentation, and thank you for all coming. And if you have any more to add, feel free to speak up now.
Anyone have anything to add? No. Thank you so much for
Okay,
allowing
thank
us
you.
to come in and speak.
Yep, thank you. Okay, 7C, McDepco monthly report. Kim? Oh, she's hiding over.
Hi. I know I'm on this side today. Well, thanks for having me. So my report for March, So McDevco is still continuing to focus on gap financing. In 2022, we did a little over $315,000, which I shared. When we lend on a gap financing project, we're working with a primary lender to help businesses start or expand. So if you think about that $315,000 as 20%, we were able to really help a lot of businesses in the community. So that's very exciting. COVID-19 grants, we still are administrating the City of Wausau Cares IT and Child Care grant for those businesses in the City of Wausau that were impacted by COVID. We were the administrator for the Marathon County Microbusiness Grant, and that grant has just come to a close. We dispersed thus far $210,000 with a few additional in process. In the final steps. So that program has ended, but was successful and a lot of fun for us to be part of and help support those businesses that were impacted. In regards to our 2023 programming calendar, I kind of highlighted some of the items and workshops that we'll be focusing on. So every quarter I do information sessions with business owners that might not, they have an idea, but maybe they didn't start their LLC yet or they haven't registered and they need to learn that 10,000 foot overview. So I do those quarterly. We have strategic planning that we're in the midst of right now. Our last workshop class will be next week. And this is really geared towards business owners that are looking to start their business, or maybe they've had a business plan and they've been operating and maybe they've executed everything in their business plan, or they need to make a pivot. And now they need to reinvest in a new business plan. Well, that's where strategic planning comes in. They build those pillars, they revisit their mission and vision, and they get a really clear picture of the roadmap ahead and how they're going to be successful. I've been continuing to partner with the DC Everest Youth Entrepreneurs, and we will have a field trip scheduled for them again this year. Very beneficial for them to come and see the business incubator that McDevco manages, the manufacturing, the office space. What's really cool about these students is they've already started businesses, and to get them thinking about how that can translate once they graduate and they can launch their business on a larger scale within our incubator is a really great opportunity for them. We'll be at the Chamber Expo, the SWIMA Expo. We're going to be doing a lunch and learn presentation with a group of lenders. We just hosted one last week to educate them on gap financing and some of the other programs that we offer to help with micro fund loans and as well as gap loans. We'll be hosting a business networking event, a QuickBooks workshop for businesses operating that have QuickBooks and need a little one-on-one support with that. And then, of course, our certificate program, the Gear Certificate of Entrepreneurial Excellence. That is an extensive workshop, about 4 months long, where we take business owners that maybe have launched their business and aren't quite sure or are thinking about launching. It gives you a high-level overview of everything that you should consider. It's not going to be everything because every industry is different, but you're going to learn a little about HR, finance, your expenses, income statements, insurance, sales tax, all of that you need to consider when you're building your financials and your plan to be successful. So that'll kick off in September. And then next week we have a tour. We continue to do tours of our facility. We've got the University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point students coming through that are in the entrepreneurship program. So just continuing to market the space to those up-and-coming leaders in our area. You can see some of the images. These aren't all of the graphics for our programs, but just a couple as an example. For folks to sign up on our website. McDevco does also host quarterly municipality meetings. We have another one coming up mid-May where all of the municipalities, all 59, are invited to McDevco, and we talk about projects that are happening in their communities. How can we collaborate, support one another to make Marathon County the best place to either relocate or stay or return to if you've lived here once before and you're coming back to the community. So it's a really great way for us to all connect and utilize one another to enhance resources. And then the EEC, EEC is short for the Entrepreneurial and Education Center. McDevco took over the management of the business incubator that we call the EEC in January of 2021. Occupancy was 21%, and to date, we are at 86%. Manufacturing is full. We have a handful of offices available, and we do also have a co-working space within the facility that we have some subscribers that use that space. So just a little update for McDevco. I'll turn it over for any questions.
Any questions for Kim? Okay, thank you, Kim. Very good report. Thank you again. Moving on to 7D, Library Monthly Report. Leah?
Thank you, Supervisor Rosenberg, for the microphone, and thank you, Chair Seefeld. You have my report in your packet. These are, just a usual update of programming and other services that the library provides from the previous month. I do have a couple of more recent behind-the-scenes updates that might be of interest to this committee. One is our strategic plan proposal. At the beginning of March, I put out an RFP for a strategic planning consultant. That RFP has closed, and I'm happy to say that we've gotten 4 consultant proposals that we're currently reviewing, and we'll bring final decisions to our board in May, hopefully. Another thing of interest is the Athens new building. If any of you are familiar with the Athens community, the municipality has been for some time raising money through a nonprofit called Progress Athens to raise money to relocate their municipal building. If you don't know, the library is located in their municipal building. We've had some troubles with the building with the recent snowfall and then melt. It was kind of raining inside of the branch there. It was solved, but it wasn't the first time, so I think it's a really good move. The library board seems to be excited about the prospect, and I have an update about that from the clerk over the Village of Athens. She said that they put in an offer to purchase the building. So the building that they're looking for is the old U.S. Bank building. It's literally just kitty corner. You can just walk over there. Unfortunately for us, the bookshelves are too heavy to just carry over there, so we'd probably have to get movers. But it's a really nice building. We did a tour of it. The library board did last May, I believe, when things were getting closer and fundraising was picking up. So they put an offer on the building. I believe it's been accepted. And also the following Monday, the board at the Village of Athens approved the purchase. So it is happening. They are moving their municipal building to the previously occupied U.S. Bank building. So I think that's really great news. What that means for us, we haven't worked out the details of it. They still are going to close. I think that'll be 30 to 45 days. And then they have to work on renovations to make it a space for not only the village offices, but also the police and the library. So it remains to be seen, what that timeline will look like for us. But overall, from discussions with the library board previously, they seem really on board. My personal opinion as the director, I think it's a great location. It's fairly beautiful. There's wood high, grand ceilings in the library space. There's an additional room that could be used for a study room or a quiet room or even a very small programming room. There's additional storage that we don't have in the current location. So overall, I think it's win-win for the Village of Athens and also for the library branch there. Any questions about that?
Any questions for Leah? Okay, thank you, Leah.
Thank you.
Moving on to 7E, UW Extension. Jeremy.
All right, thank you again, Chair Seefeld. You have the educator's report, so I won't go into any details there, but for my update, I would like to introduce one of our staff members. Mallory McGivern is our area FoodWise administrator, and there's a lot going on in FoodWise right now, so I wanted the opportunity for you to meet her, and she can give a couple of updates on happenings in FoodWise.
Thanks, Jeremy. Hi, everyone. My name is Mallory McGivern. I've been in this position at Extension since late September, so it's nice to meet you all. So like Jeremy said, I work in FoodWise, and FoodWise is a program that serves SNAP-eligible individuals, primarily with direct nutrition education, but also FoodWise staff does kind of work on policy systems and environmental change as well to help make the healthy choice the easy choice for low-income individuals. So I do work in this 4-county area, so I live here in Wausau, but I oversee and support the nutrition educators in the 4-county area, Marathon, Clark, Portage, and Wood counties. And like Jeremy said, we have a lot of moving pieces right now, so we are also right now actively hiring for what's called a Healthy Communities Coordinator. So that person focuses specifically on policy, system, and environmental change. So something that works really well in tandem with direct education is kind of impacting the environment people live in, right? That makes a much bigger difference in the choices we make. And our Marathon County educator, Gao Nu Tao, also recently accepted a different position within Extension. So she is now the Hmong Farmer Outreach Specialist in the Ag Institute. So she's no longer serving in that nutrition educator capacity. So hopefully in the very near future, we'll be hiring a new Marathon County nutrition educator. And our hope is that we can increase the capacity as well. So hopefully a larger FTE and be able to serve a broader audience, more folks. Yeah, any questions at all about FoodWise?
Any questions? Okay, thank you very much.
One note, if I might, about FoodWise, and I know you've heard this before, but a bit of a reminder. FoodWise is one of the programs that we actually receive federal funding for that, so the county doesn't invest any funding in FoodWise. So Mallory's position and the educator who's based here are federally funded. So one of the programs that comes along with the rest of the investment that makes a big impact in the community. So, yeah. Good. Thank you very much.
Any questions for Jeremy? Okay, thank you again. Moving on to 7F, UWSP. And I think this is Gretchen? Gretel, okay. I read your name tag, but
No
my
worries.
provision's getting a little low here.
So my name's Gretel Stock. I'm here to represent Ozala Toms here, who can't be here today. I work with Ozala in Marshfield and in Wausau, and I also work with our Marshfield campus, as well as our services on Stevens Point. So it's really great to be here with all of you today. I'll just hit a couple of highlights from the report that we submitted. One is that we continue to diversify our enrollment front. We are our enrollment is up in the traditional undergraduate population, which we're very excited about. And we are inviting folks to come back to complete their degrees, especially those that stopped out during COVID, and adults who have some credits with us to come back and complete their degree, and showing them a very clear pathway to do that. We've been doing this program at UWSP called Finish Up for a while. It's been very successful, so we're extending it again to folks in the Marathon County community to make sure that they can continue to meet their goals with the support of the university. We also are expanding our concurrent enrollment with local high schools to make sure that more students can get college credit before they graduate, which the research shows gives them a leg up when they're in college. I just wanted to mention a couple of events that we have coming up. One is the Hank Talk that's listed. Chris Prahl, who's one of our biologists, is talking about biofuels and genetic engineering. It's very exciting. She's talking about making better yeast to be better part of the biofuels process. Chris is really fun and dynamic and very quirky and smart. So you can either watch on YouTube or you can watch at the Venenga Theater. One item that is not on your agenda, the report in terms of events, is on April 14th, so coming up just next week. We are hosting the Wisconsin Vocal Jazz Festival. There's going to be 14 high schools coming to participate in this festival. It's something that we do every year, hosted by our music faculty, Tim. And there is also a Grammy-nominated jazz supergroup called Sage of 4 female jazz vocalists and a jazz trio that will come be offering a concert. And the UWSP Vocal Jazz Ensemble, with members from our Wausau campus and from our Stevens Point campus, will be opening for Sage. So those tickets are on sale. You can look on our website and get that information. But we're very excited to have this group here to round out our jazz festival. We're also doing some events for promoting youth development. So we're having our Career Exploration Day, so students can come with all of our partners in the area and come and explore different careers in the junior highs. We have an 8th grade day, which is the first year we're doing that in a while because of COVID. So we'll get 8th graders coming in and getting to know the campus and those opportunities as well. Does anyone have any questions for me that I can answer?
Any questions from the committee? Okay, thank you very much for the report.
Thank you.
Moving on, number 8, next meeting date and time, announcements and future agenda items. 8A, committee members are asked to bring ideas for future discussion. 8B, next meeting date Thursday, May 4th, 2023 at 3 p.m. And any other announcements from the committee? I urge you to bring some future agenda items, please. Okay, thank you. Number 9, I'll take a motion to adjourn. Motion by Tom, second by Bob. All those in favor of adjournment, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. We are adjourned, and happy Easter, everyone.